Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 52. Today is Monday, August 4th, 2014, and I know that it has been quite some time since I recorded last. The short answer is that once I got to my new apartment, I didn't have working internet until, the second? And life's been sort of crazy for the past couple of weeks. Like, I'm trying to remember what day it was that I recorded last, but it's a little bit challenging today. So, welcome to the tower. I am up on the third floor, so I have a great view of many things. And I'm also fighting the sun today because there isn't too much more sunshine left, and it was definitely really bad being in the shadows. You can see the shadow, shadow. So we're just gonna see if we can make this work, and if it is an abject failure, who knows? So let's see. I have worked on, or what is it? So probably the big thing that I want to show you guys first is that I finished the Walk on the New Moon, but it's not blocked yet because it's been really crazy lately. So so when I last saw you guys, I was working on binding it off or something, maybe, possibly. I might have been binding it off. But this is it in all of its massive glory. It is quite a bit of yarn thrown in this. And I really didn't have much in the way of leftovers at all. Like, I really don't have usable leftovers after all of this. So that is what we're talking about here. I'm going to block it long because I figure that it needs length more than it needs, I think it needs length more than it needs width in this case. It's got plenty of width. And honestly, I think it would be better if I could wrap it around myself more than once and just have this ridiculous blankie, for lack of a better word. So I still haven't blocked it yet. My blocking mats are mostly up in the apartment. I have 16 square feet that are still hiding under the seat in the car that I'll need to move at some point, but I really haven't been. I keep forgetting to do it, so such is life. I'm really happy with how the colors turned out. I ended up playing it really close on the bind off. So I ended up doing maybe 20 or 40 stitches in a normal bind off as opposed to the Russian bind off. So most of it is in the Russian bind off, but a little bit I need to do in a regular. So hopefully that's not going to adversely affect, trying to figure out where in the world that I finished it. Okay. I finished it here, so hopefully it's not going to adversely affect the stretchiness here. It definitely is more stretchy where it wasn't, but I think I trimmed this. No, I didn't trim this. This is how much yarn I had left over. So, not very much. But hey, I made it work. It wasn't like I was going to scavenge it from my sweater because I really like that sweater. And it was such that it really, so then in the ruffle part, I have a little bit of the green and a little bit of the maroon, but I think it ends up blending fairly nicely together, so that was good. So big, huge project off the needles. Really glad to see the end of it. And, well, it's almost nearly the end. I'll have to do some before and after blocking measurements, but hey, such is life. You know, it's another thing that I finished that I never showed you guys before? It's a scarf. What was it? This was something that I finished before I ended up moving to Texas. And it is, and then I didn't end up showing you guys after I had sort of beaten it to a pulp, for lack of a better word. So this is the table runner scarf thing that I ended up weaving. The warp was my Romney handspun that was really overspun, and the weft, for the most part, so the warp was for the most part the Romney handspun, and then I put in these two green stripes. And then the warp and a little bit of the weft was the Regia hand dye effect. But really what ended up happening was that I ended up getting all of the bad things about the Romney and none of the good things about the Regia, because the Regia is effectively a thread plied sort of single-like thing. So it's not really for wear next to the skin at all. Like, this is pretty bad. I really screwed that one up. I really screwed that one up. But hey, such is life. You live and you learn. I really like the parts of the Romney where it completely came unplied when I ended up washing it in the washing machine, but oh well. Such is life. You live and you learn. So that is the weaving that I was going to show you as soon as I got to Texas, and then it was lost for a while, and I finally unpacked that box because I'm in this place much longer term, and there we go. So I no longer have a loom. I won't be weaving for quite some time, and that's perfectly fine to me. I still have quite a bit of this Regia hand dye left over. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it exactly now that I use some of it for the scarf. It is long color run, so it goes from like a gray-green to sort of a bright spring green. And I'm not sure whether, I think I probably have half of this left, but okay. Not sure what the plan is there, but that's what I have left over. And I definitely have a decent amount of the Romney left over as well. So the other thing that I ended up working on a lot last weekend was I ended up grafting on the body of the sweater. Oh, that's inside out. That won't do. Let me put this on right side out. So I ended up grafting on the new bodice to the old bottom, and this is how it ended up looking. So there still is some work to go because obviously the sleeves aren't grafted on yet. It was definitely a trial in order to get the grafting to really look nice, but I think I ended up sort of finding my rhythm there in order to make it work. And yeah, no, if I can put the sleeves on and then do the collar, then this is over 1,000 yards for stash stitch, and I think that's what I need in order to call it done. What is it? The Nuvum, I think, counted for, 1,700 yards. So that was what got me to 80%, and then I just have to do this 1,000, and I'm pretty sure I'm good then. So what I've been sort of half-heartedly working on-ish is getting the sleeves onto the needle, doing a little snip-snip. Oh, sorry, I'm not even showing you where I am. Doing a little snip-snip and then detaching the sleeves. But I haven't had some quiet, alone time, really. There's so many things that I've had to be a responsible adult for this week. So not as much knitting time as usual. Or last week, lots of weeks. It's been really, really crazy. Like, I finally mostly unpacked Friday night. So that is the story there. So I need to get both these sleeves off. I sort of have the armpit stitches off-ish. And we'll go from there. I'm probably going to have to snip a little bit in order to get at it. So that is my reknit of the Alfaba sweater, which is a Mary Umbrella pattern. The last thing that I'm working on that has really been my carry-around project for the past couple of days, which is sort of hilarious because it really is a very, very horrible carry-around project. Because it keeps on wanting to fall off the needles like that, is the Maurice sock. So I did finally get a chance to restart, and I ended up getting past where I was the last time. But obviously, like, this is a pretty pitiful amount of knitting for, several weeks gone from the podcast. But hey, such as life. There was plenty to talk about today. It was just maybe not as much knitting as I would have liked. So we're talking a little lizard here. We can see most of the first lizard. I believe it's 2 or 3 pattern repeats, or maybe it's 2.5 or something like that before I start working on the heel. The heel will feel like it's going on forever, but I know it's okay because I'll be mostly turned by the time I'm done with it. I ended up getting a lot of this done in the Apple Store. It turned out my phone had been defective since the start. Apparently, smartphones are supposed to turn the screen off when you put your face near them, and mine never did that. So the Apple Store ended up getting me all fixed up and replacing the screen so that my proximity sensor worked again, so that was exciting. Got lots of knitting done at the Apple Store. So that is Maritz. It's by Stephanie Vanderlinden, and I'm using size 0 needles because I needed a tight gauge in order to fit my husband's giant legs. All right, next order of business is I ended up having some stash positions between now and then. 3 of them were gifts, and one of them, was something I ended up purchasing, and there was an awful lot of drama with the purchase one. But hey, I'll talk about that in a little bit. So what I have is I ended up seeing my mother-in-law 2 weekends ago, and because she's awesome, she always has a little something something for me, so she ended up giving me 2 books. So the first one is 10 Secrets of a Laid-Back Knitter. This is the first and only one that I've started to read. I think I'm on tip 4 or something, maybe 5. It's definitely a book for, for a beginner. It's the case where a lot of these lessons that they're talking about are things that I've ended up picking up, in the last, 12 years of knitting. So it'll just be the case where it's very interesting to read this and look back on how I ended up discovering it for myself, or just the fact that I am a pretty adventurous knitter, so it'll be the case where I take it pretty easy. So it's been an interesting read. So far I haven't found a pattern yet that really calls to be knit, but hey, I'm not done with the book yet, so we'll see. So what would it be? It's just the case where they have instructions on how to pick up a drop stitch and what to do with color, and how to challenge yourself and stuff like that. So definitely for the case where you're newer to knitting and you sort of it's sort of a mixture of advice plus patterns, so I think that would be the best way to describe that book. The other one that I ended up getting was the Encyclopedia of New Knitting the New Encyclopedia of Knitting Techniques. So this ends up covering a little bit of everything in it. So it has a little bit dictionary, it reads a bit like a stitch dictionary, just flipping through it really quickly because I haven't had the chance to look through it. So it'll be something where it's showing a bunch of different stitch patterns, and then it's all charted out for you. And charted out in a way that it'll work for the round. I know with Barbara Walker's Stitch Dictionary, it doesn't work so great in the round. She definitely has it charted out for knitting flat. So basically, ideas, talking about colors and stuff like that, simple techniques. So another beginner resource, this isn't going to be, the principles of knitting, but it is going to be a really easy way to flip open to something, to get a little bit of your knitting insight, to get a little bit of techniques, a little bit of stitch patterns, stuff like that. The other gift from Joni, my mother-in-law, was actually a skein of Wool Mice Twin in the Guide to the Galaxy colorway. She knows me well. She knows that I really, truly adore multis and twin, even though I have yet to, I guess I have knit with multis and twin, but it's been a long time. I've ended up collecting several multis and twin before I've actually gotten around to knitting them lately. So, so this colorway has some maroon, brown, and teal. I'm not catching other colors in this particular skein, so it is very, very pretty and very, very cool. I know that at some point crazy socks are going to be made for myself, even though I'm not quite ready to knit myself socks again. But have it here. It could potentially be a really good color for the Dear Sweet Lovable one because it's just sort of crazy. And he has a reputation for crazy socks. Alright, so the last thing ended up being quite a bit of drama. Because I ended up moving to this new apartment complex, I hadn't realized what a pain it was going to be in order to get things in the mail. So let's just say that my Nest Fiber Club is actually going to be sent to work because, yeah. UPS, or the U.S. Postal Service, had said that this had been delivered last Friday. This ended up in my mailbox the Friday before, so it was just really ridiculous. This is a Turkish spindle that I ended up buying in D-Stash. I don't actually remember off the top of my head where it is from and what it is made out of. I know that the tines of this are actually burl, or some sort of burl, and the shaft is not burl. So this is 45 grams, I remember that. It's actually pretty stout for a spindle. And then the cool thing about Turkish spindles is that you can actually take it apart. So these two guys here end up interlocking together. There we go. And then you end up putting your shaft through that. So what this does is a couple of things. First off is that when you're spinning this, you're using the half hitch as you're using a half hitch instead of, instead of a hook. The other thing is that you're able to take the cop off as a single group by just sliding off these two wings, for lack of a better word. And obviously, since I don't have fiber off it, I haven't had a chance to spin with it yet. But what was really cool was the person who ended up de-stashing to me ended up sending, I think, about an ounce of superwash merino to play with. Or I asked her and she thought it was superwash merino. So it's sort of pinks and purples and a little bit of brown in there as well. So I feel quite horrible because it was lost in the mail for about a week. It was the case where I went to check my mail for the first time. I ended up discarding the contents of 3 previous residents' mail. And then I saw a key to a package box, and I'm like, oh great, that's my package. That was someone else's package who was in the same apartment complex, but totally different apartment number. That was really frustrating. And then, thankfully, since the box was empty, the next day the spindle ended up arriving. So, oh my gosh. So I feel really bad about that happening. And so my executive decision was to actually have all future Nest shipments end up getting sent to my work. Hopefully it's not a big deal to them. But, yeah, no, I just really don't like the idea of my mail not arriving. So, who knows? It's definitely a very different experience from that regard. But my spindle has arrived. I hope to be able to use it soon now that, what is it? Oh, Tour de France is over. Isn't that crazy? I didn't end up spinning any since I last talked to you guys. Just the case where life's been really crazy. I haven't had time to knit. I certainly haven't had time to spin. I definitely end up prioritizing knitting over spinning. So no spinning this week, but I did buy a spindle. Yay, stash positions. All right. I think that is everything today, and I ended up going in ridiculous speed, but hey, the sun is about to cut off my face, so that's probably fine. I guess I could sit back a little bit. So, in terms of recording schedule, I don't even know where to sit. I'm sorry about all the shadows. I wouldn't normally record now. It's just that I realized I'm not going to have a chance to record this weekend. I didn't have a chance to record last weekend, or whatever, this weekend, or the weekend before. So that is a lot of time to not record, so I figured getting an episode in would be good. And I'm so behind on podcasts, like I haven't been able to watch since, whatever, the 22nd or something like that when I ended up moving. So, whew, too many responsibilities. I am looking forward to not being as responsible soon. So let's see, next weekend I'm going to be up in Michigan. I need to stand for my friend. She stood for me, so I'm standing for her. Pretty simple. I'll end up being home for a couple of days, and that would be very nice. What else? So I'll end up being home for a couple of days. I still need to reserve a hotel room. I guess I'm not done being irresponsible yet, so I just need to take care of that, and that'll be good. And then I think the weekend after that, I will finally be back to normal, and I am really, really looking forward to that. So, in order to make that work, what is it? So I should be able to record, what is it, on the 16th? Let me check the calendar. Oh my goodness. I'm pretty sure I have to do donuts on the 15th, so it would make sense that I would record again on the 16th. Yes, so I should be able to record again on the 16th, and won't that be really exciting? Yeah, no coffee today. It's way too late for coffee. I definitely had a lot of coffee today, and that might explain why I'm talking so fast today. So I hope all of you happy knitters have a fantastic week, and I look forward to seeing you again, sometime soon, probably the 16th. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.